Sometime in December of 2019, in the sixth largest city in China, a brand new virus emerged. This was a new virus, or a novel virus, and our lives have been completely changed, and they continue to be changed. The horrifying events of the past few months have left us shocked and likely traumatized. It was a vicious attack from an enemy that didn't care what country we lived in, the color of the skin we were born with, or what faith guides you through your life. It didn't care. It was like watching a slow motion explosion as it began to rip through Wuhan. It was so slow at first that it took almost a month before the first investigation into a cluster of viral pneumonia cases that was happening from the Hunan seafood market. As they continued to research it, they began to suspect that it had a zoological origin, as it looked very much like the type of coronavirus that's found in bats, and it also looked very similar to coronaviruses that are found in an animal called a pangolin. Now you might be wondering, what the heck is a pangolin? Well, it's kind of like a weird little mammal that kind of looks like an armadillo. It's a teeny anteater, and an armadillo has sort of a leathery kind of protection, like a shell. And the pangolin has these spiny, spiky little scales that are made out of keratin. Keratin is the same material that's found in your fingernails and your toenails, and rhinoceros horn, also made of keratin. Now, unfortunately for the pangolin, it's this keratin that is very highly prized in traditional Chinese medicine. Also for the rhino, same, it's highly prized for its medicinal therapy. Now, what kind of things does this treat, if you're wondering? Anxiety. So, makes you wonder if that's true. If people who are very anxious and chew their fingernails, are they just self-medicating? Oh, used to treat hysterical crying in children. Would it work for me? It is also the go-to medicine for women who have been possessed by devils. Helpful in reducing malarial fever and deafness. Okay. The poor pangolin, it's a double whammy because apparently its meat is considered a delicacy. So, tastes great and it cures devils. So, now, that's a pangolin. What's that got to do with anything? Well, apparently, this is the theory is that if the virus originated in a bat, now bats have these incredible immune systems, meaning that they're almost immune to everything. So they're completely riddled with viruses, and they become the perfect host to create superviruses because their immune system is so incredibly powerful. So what that means is, if a human had come in contact with that virus via a bat directly, nothing would have happened. It's not a virus that humans can get. It's a bat virus. However, it was close enough to a virus that a pangolin could get. So probably what's happened is that bats were caged very close to a pangolin, and the virus traveled from the bat to the pangolin, and then because it had changed just enough, now it became a virus that would be able to work for humans. And it's one of these viruses that has it's smart. All viruses don't obviously have any intelligence, but compared to other horrible other illnesses like Ebola attacks incredibly fast and it kills you very quickly. So really what happens is you get it, you feel really sick, you go lay down, and you die. And it doesn't really allow you to spread. Where in this case, with this particular virus, you might have it and it could be incubating inside your body for 2 weeks while you're spreading it to other people, and you don't even know you have it. Worse than that, you could have it and never get a symptom and just be spreading it. So if you don't wear a mask and you're one of those people who has it, you're just spreading it to everyone, and meanwhile you're thinking, well, I'm not worried about getting sick. Well, you already are. You're giving it to everybody else. On January 3rd, 2020, the first reports were included in security briefings to the President of the United States, and probably around the same time, although I've not read any details on this, most likely was in a briefing to the Prime Minister of Canada as well. Now, my understanding is in the early days, in the first few days of January, the Canadian government did begin to monitor the situation. They felt that the risk was very low for Canadians. So basically, it was just watch and see. As the days and weeks went on, we began to see that it was growing exponentially. It began to overwhelm the healthcare systems in a number of different countries, with Italy being just attacked so hard, so horrible that there were doctors who had to make this horrible, horrible decision between patients and saying, you deserve to get this ventilator and you do not. Primarily, I would say, based on your age. If you're over a certain age, they weren't even going to consider you for a ventilator, and you were just going to die, and you're going to die alone. And hopefully they gave you at least some heavy drugs to help mitigate the pain as you died alone. And this was so many people's parents and children. So as humans, we're a little slow, but eventually we realized that we had to do something. And so all around the world, for the first time in my life, it actually seemed as though the whole world was coming together and doing one thing, became single-minded in trying to flatten this curve. Now, flattening the curve does not mean doing everything we can to eradicate it. It just means allowing the healthcare system to have enough capacity to handle it. And we've done it. We've flattened the curve. Now, all that means is, I just want to emphasize that, all that means is there's now a ventilator available for you if you get it. Doesn't mean that we're not still getting it. Just means we're not getting it at the same rate that we originally were. Now, we're seeing all of these restrictions start to be lifted. Businesses starting to open up again. Places like hair salons. I can't imagine. I mean, my hair is getting long, but there's far worse things in the world, like dying, than getting a haircut. Or making my hairdresser die because I'm asymptomatic. For the first time in my life, the whole world came together and realized that we had to do something, and it started to work. And before that, so we're all told, hey, we're going to stay inside, we're just going to buy some stuff. So that's what we did. We went out and bought everything. We bought all the food, only 2 weeks worth, but we bought 3 months worth, and we bought all the toilet paper, we bought all the cleaning supplies, and we all went inside, mostly. And that's the problem. Not everyone took it seriously. Different countries had different levels of response. And what we're seeing are the countries that reacted the quickest and started to shut down their borders, who got people to start, staying inside, and they closed the schools and all of those things. The ones who reacted the quickest are having the best result. They're having the lowest rate of death. They also are ones who are testing at a really high level. Testing is so important. Unfortunately, politicians get involved, and politicians who realize that, hey, the more tests we do, the more people will have a positive result. So if we test less, our numbers will look better, and so we can pretend that this isn't really happening and we're doing a great job, even though we're doing a terrible job. Or they skew the data. Now, I love Florida. It is one of my favorite places in the world, and anyone who's on this channel, I'm pretty sure you get that. But 126 million people visited Florida in 2018. But if you happen to live in Florida, maybe even just temporarily, like a lot of people do, and you test positive, that number is not being recorded on the stats for Florida. You're someone else's problem. So we're not reporting that you are sick. Now, the other aspect is testing and how much testing is being done per capita. So what that means is that there is a multiplier effect based on the number of people that are being reported as having COVID-19. It can be probably as much as 10 times greater. So that means if where you live, they're not testing very much, that means every time they say there are 100 new cases today, actually it's probably 1,000. And they're not getting tested. They still have it. They're potentially still out there spreading it. But we're not going to report that. So the higher the number of tests that are being conducted, the more accurate we can predict or extrapolate how many people are actually being infected. Early in March, Disney decided it was going to close its gates for the safety of its guests. Now, Disney has always had a number of principles that it guides their actions, and one of the most important is the safety of guests. So based on that, they made a very tough decision and 100% correct decision to close the gates and shut things down. On the 16th of March, Walt Disney World followed suit and closed down as well. And then soon after, every Disney park on Earth has shut down. This was 100% the right decision. Now, as of May 10th, we've seen almost 280,000 people dead from this one virus. Not over the course of an entire war. We're talking in the first 5 months, not even full 5 months, the first 4 months of 2020. That number is staggering. In fact, to put it in perspective, that is approximately the population of the city of Orlando, Florida. So you imagine every person in Orlando dead from one virus. It's crazy. Of that 280,000, 80,000 deaths are in the United States alone. That's about the population of Santa Monica. Imagine if a bomb had gone off in Santa Monica and killed every single person. These are not small numbers. While all of this is going on, cities are opening up again. People are going to the beach. People are having protests because they don't want to wear masks. People think that it's caused by 5G, right? Towers, cellular data. It's insane. The science is real, people. It's real. Now, I know people are hurting. People aren't working. Charmaine is not working. She has lost her job due to COVID-19. And in Canada, if you are affected by this, you can apply to get $2,000 a month. Every month you have to reapply each time. That's incredible. Add that with the ability for most people to very easily get mortgage deferrals, to put off your credit card payments. And luckily for me, I have been considered an essential worker at my primary job, and I have continued to work. But having the assistance of our government has made it much easier for Canada to have people follow the rules to stay inside. But unfortunately, in the United States, if you've got bills to pay and you've got people to feed, that $1,200 that you may or may not have gotten, which you had to wait for because we needed to add an extra signature to that, which is kind of just crazy. I understand why people are desperate and to get back to work, but this isn't a plan. That's no plan at all. The plan is just go and die. If you die, you die. That's insanity. How can you have a government that won't protect you? You got to protect yourself. And I understand you've got to go and you've got to get food, but at least I would hope you would, at the very least, practice the social distancing. Put on the mask. How can you be so selfish? It's beyond my imagination as to why people. I understand why you need to work. I get that. But why you're fighting wearing the mask or, sanitizing everything and just taking all those precautions, that is beyond comprehension. That there is just a percentage of people on this earth who cannot think of anyone except themselves. They're born that way. It's staggering. When you take all of these things into consideration, when Disney provided the opportunity to refund or partially refund people's annual passes, I thought long and hard about it. I said, well, boy, what if they stay closed till January? I think that would extend my annual pass until June of 2021. Would I go back then? Unfortunately, the only logical conclusion at this point is no. Remember, we live in Canada, so even if the parks opened up June 1st, the border isn't necessarily going to be open. If it is, what protocols are going to be in place? Does that mean, oh yeah, you can come, but you have to lock yourself in your room for 2 weeks, and then if you show no symptoms, you can go in the park? Not to mention wearing a mask. I mean, you have to wear a mask, and I get that. And I hope they're going to enforce that very, very hard. But it is going to reduce the amount of fun you're going to have. Florida is hot and humid. It was a warm day here a few days ago when I was struggling with a mask. So it's not going to be great. And then there's insurance. If I get sick and I'm in the United States, at a bare minimum, if I go in the hospital, it's probably going to cost about 15,000 American dollars. That's about 22,000 Canadian. And I'll have no insurance. That'll be personal because no insurance company is going to cover for this virus if we travel. And if I got really sick and I was on a ventilator, I'm only guessing, but I don't know, 100,000? 200,000? I don't know. Canada has a universal healthcare system. I pay more taxes, but I don't have to worry about that. In the long run, I pay way less than most Americans do. And that's the whole point that I don't understand why you guys are against having universal health care. You've got the wrong opinion about it. I'm very fortunate, and we all are, that we live in Canada as we're going through all of this. Our death rate is half of what it is in the United States, and we're not doing that great. Our death rate is about 100 people per million population. It's about 200 people in the United States per million population. So we're not going until there's a vaccine, and we know that this is a vaccine that works. So what does that mean for this channel? We're just going to have more adventures from within Canada that we'll be sharing on this channel. So I'm hoping that the parks at some point will open up and we'll be able to do some camping trips in the Rocky Mountains. Hopefully we can go visit my parents in Victoria and maybe go see some whales. There's a lot of amazing adventures to be had in Canada. And so we're just going to hang out here for a while until things blow over. We're DVC members as well, and all of our points are going to be a little bit messed up for next year as well. So honestly, I don't know. I'm not going to risk my life for Disney. I love it, and I think all of us who've had the opportunity to go should be very thankful that we've done it. We've done 3 Disney cruises. I've been going to the park since I was 8 years old. Michelle's gone probably, I don't even know. We've gone so many times. We've really done it. People have asked me so many times, why do you keep going back there? Because it's awesome. It's so much fun. But I'm glad we've done it. And I'm glad we've recorded it on YouTube. And we have all those memories. I know eventually we'll get through this and things will go back. But when that's going to be, I just have no idea. So thanks for watching, everybody. This is a terrible time, but we will get through it. Eventually, this will become a memory, and I hope we learn a lot. And the one thing I really do hope we learn is if the whole world acts together, we really can make a huge difference. And it's the people who want to keep us separated, who want to make it us versus them. They're the ones that are holding us back, and hopefully we can all see through that. Stay safe, everybody. We'll see you next time from The Holy Moly.